You are now listening to Obtain, Achieve, Thrive, Hustle with Metro. Come take the oath.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy METRONORTH, aka Robert Drowney Jr., aka Mr. Megalodon, El Megalodon, back with another episode of Obtain, Achieve, Thrive, and Hustle. You feel me? You can find all of the episodes, new music, everything that I got going on content wise on YouTube at NH underscore CEO. Like I always say, I appreciate all the support, the subscribers, the viewers. Everything doesn't go unnoticed. It's all appreciated, every ounce of it. You feel me? But life been lifing. Life has been lifing. Rent is high and is due. Jobs ain't paying enough. And if you got felonies, jobs ain't paying at all. They ain't paying you no mind. You heard? Real talk. But if you really have a hustler's mentality and it's in your heart and it's in your blood, you're going to find a way to make it work. It might be some struggles and shit, but you could definitely get through it if you put your mind to it. You feel me? But like I said, life is definitely life. And I want to say when I hit like 25, I was like fresh home. I ain't really have nothing to my name other than like a little reputation, and that was kind of tarnished and outdated because I wasn't around for a long time. I started to really think about life and what it means and just what is life. And over the years since I started really thinking about it in depth, over the years, what I realized is I want my life to be as comfortable and just livable. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have to be dealing with looking over my shoulder, problems with people, not being able to have money in my pocket and feed my family. And I was just trying to figure out a way how I was gonna get to that point in my life where I didn't really need for anything and my peoples didn't need for anything. That's one of the reasons why I dived into content creating and making music and stuff like that, because with three felonies on your record, I mean, a lot of people won't take a chance on you. They rather pay somebody, to train and with no experience, bring them in, pay extra money to train them over somebody who has experience that is seasoned in this career path, but they got felonies. Can't take a chance on them, on somebody like that. That shit is crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? And now that I've been hearing people say like, "Oh, if the president can have felonies, they need to take the conviction uh, part off the job applications." But still, I mean, that shit ain't gonna happen. Who you kidding? Who you telling? I mean, that's really not gonna happen. But one thing I really learned, a few things I learned, should I say, like to me, what life means is like life is all about experiences. And I've told this to a few people. I feel like life is all about the experiences that you have, right? And from those experiences you learn things. You pick these things, you pick these certain things up from these lessons you learn. And I believe that these lessons you learn provide you with knowledge and tools, right? So it could be something you experience personally or it could be somebody that you know. But you're going to learn a lesson and pick up a tool or two from these things, right? So you take those tools and those lessons you learn and you apply them to your life. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, I got friends that I grew up with who, at a young age, they get convicted, they go to juvie, they go through all of these things that I'm seeing from my point of view. So I see this and I'm like, all right, I ain't gonna move like him. Even though I eventually did do, things that were similar to the way they were moving, but I'm not gonna move like this. I'm gonna try to do better. At a young age, you don't really understand it. You just like, well, I'm not gonna do exactly what he did, but I'm gonna do it another way. That shit don't work. So even now, when I see like dudes I know that have kids with these women that they don't really get to know. They don't really connect with them other than physically. They have kids with them, and then next thing you know, we sitting somewhere chilling, and he's just venting about how he got BM problems and all of this crazy shit he got to deal with, going to court and custody and joint custody. Like, it's just crazy. So when I see that, I'm like, all right, what I'm learning from him is I need to know that if I'm gonna have a kid with somebody, I need to connect with them on a spiritual level, emotional level, and a physical level is of course, but you need to also really figure out if you can move as a unit. So like shit like that is what I'm talking about when I say lessons and tools and shit that you pick up from experiences, and you apply them to your life to where you can live a life that's comfortable, that you can move around and not have stressful things weighing on you all the time. Because life is always going to have trials and tribulations. You know, you're going to go through things. Nothing's easy. And I hear a lot of people say when God chooses you, it's never easy. And I believe that. You know what I mean? I'm not a crazy religious person. I'm more spiritual. I go off energy and, like just energy and vibes and vibrations and stuff like that. So all of the things I've been through, I learned great lessons from. You know, as I explained many times before, like prison, it taught me so much because when I was in prison, it was those years where usually if you're free, you're going off to college, you're getting your first apartment, you're working your first like real job, you're paying taxes, you're learning about adult things. When you're in prison, you're just sitting there waiting for your date if you have a date. So I was able to sit back, evaluate my childhood, my teenage years, and say, yo, I was a savage. I was a madman out here. You know what I mean? In a boy's body. So I was like, this is how I need the maneuver. Read a lot of literature. Just learned who I was and who I was becoming and who I wanted to be. And I applied all the things that I learned. Oh, can't move like this because when you move like this comes with this. You know what I'm saying? I'm being vague, but it's kind of hard for me to like really talk about it and people really understand sometimes because everybody hasn't had experiences like me. Everybody's experiences are different. And then coming home and then integrating back into society and then not really being outgoing when I first came home. I was a little bit of an introvert unless I had a few drinks in me or I was smoking or I was around people I was comfortable to be around. But I really seen in myself the change over the years. How I went from being like just real petty, being an asshole, being a straight up dickhead to being more humble, to being more logical with the way I move, having these ethics like accountability and stuff like that, like taking responsibility for what you need to take responsibility for. Like, yo, if you have a kid, your responsibility, your obligation is to take care of that kid, whether you and your counterpart are together or not, right? So, trials and tribulations, everyone goes through different things. Some people lose people. Some people, get their freedom taken away. Some people's house burned down, and sometimes it goes back to the circumstances and pressure you under too. All of those things teach you something. And overall, what it teaches you if you make it through is that you're strong enough to deal with it. Not a lot of people take that in consideration. Like everyone's just like, "Why me? Why is this happening right now?" Because I was like that at one point. Why is this happening to me? I don't do nothing. I just be chilling. Sometimes I may get back into that mindset, but then you know what I mean, bring myself back down and go, man, listen, it's nothing I can't handle. I done been through hell and back. Real talk. Trials and tribulations teach you or show you how much strength you really have spiritually and mentally for real. Because like losing my mom and the way that I lost her was like it was so crazy because I was away She got sick within like a year and a half of me being away. And when she got sick, it wasn't like, oh yeah, she fell ill and then she gonna be back at it. Like, nah, it was she fell ill and was never the same, right? So I'm sitting in prison like, yo, what the fuck? Like, ain't no way. I was just talking to my mom's on the phone. And the last conversation me and her had when she could speak, that shit was crazy. Like, she was wilding out because there was some family drama going on. But like me thinking in my head, like, damn, she's not gonna be the same. I come home and then I see it for myself, but I'm like, damn, like this is not the woman who raised me. This is not the woman who used to walk me and the gang to school early in the morning in the early 2000s, late 90s, take the whole neighborhood to school walking. You feel what I'm saying? Like she gets iller and iller over the years, and she eventually passes away in 2020. That was one thing that I went through. Where it was like my mental. I had to like kind of recalibrate my mind. I would like to say like I had to really compartmentalize certain things, and the crazy shit is that happens, right? She passes away. We had a funeral, and then a month and a half later, I find out I'm having a kid. I'm having my first child. So it's like all this shit is going on, and it's just going through my head. Like, damn, it's bittersweet because I lost the like basically she was like the nucleus of the family. You feel me? Like our crib growing up was the spot. You go in the crib right now, there's a big sign over the entrance that says Kool-Aid House because everybody used to come to my house from family members, cousins, brothers, nieces, uncles. Everybody used to come to the crib, even classmates from school. Niggas would tell you I had a basketball court in the backyard, big ass yard, two properties on one property. You feel me? Like, so losing her really put me in like a crazy mental space. I stopped talking to a lot of people that I regret doing that. Um, and then finding out that I'm having a kid. So like, damn, she not even here to see me. She wasn't even able to see me start my music career and do all of the things that I'm doing now. You know, one thing I'm happy she doesn't see is people trying to get at me for my past. That's one thing that I'm like, all right, yeah. But you know, she is watching over, so she does see all of it. But I just want her to be here physically and end up coming across any of that or hearing about it because that's not the kid she raised. I remember when I told her I had copped out in court. It's like 2012, mid 2012. I had copped out in court. And I remember telling her like, yeah, like they gave me 5 years. They gave me 10 years suspended after five. I gotta do 5 years in prison. I'm breaking it down. I gotta do 5 years in prison and another five on parole. She's sitting in the living room in her big leather chair and watching Housewives of Atlanta, something like that. And she just got up and gave me a hug. Like, you'll get through it. And I remember being younger, like, she used to be like, yo, if you go to jail, you can't come back and live here. But that was just something she was saying to, like, kind of like scare niggas into not getting into the streets and doing crazy shit. Even though I think me and all my brothers did eventually. But that just showed me, like, it's unconditional love. This is my mom's. And that was like the trials and like some of the trials and tribulations I went to. I've been through many trials. I was going through trials and tribulations at 3 years old. You feel me? Like crazy shit. That's for another episode though. But also like what about life is evolving. I feel like I evolved into exactly who I envisioned. Plus more. You know what I'm saying? I would have never thought I'd be doing the journalism stuff and being on YouTube and creating things that are positive and shedding light on people who are really doing their thing out here. Like I've evolved from I used to be like just oh man, like I said, I was a dickhead, like crazy, just outside wilding out, didn't care about anybody's feelings, would fight anybody who pressed me. And people used to say I had a Napoleon complex because I was little, but it wasn't even that. It was just I didn't care. I was one of those kids where My little sister didn't live in the house. My little brother didn't live in the house, and my older brothers, they was out of the house. One was up in Mass, one was out in college in Atlanta. So it's just me in the crib, mainly by myself most of the time. Mom Deuce used to work from 3 p.m. to 12 midnight growing up. So I was like just in the crib, living in my own head, doing whatever I wanted to do. So I look back at that person and then I look at who I am today and I'm like, yo, I've evolved into exactly who I wanted to be and carry myself so well that it's like, damn, I can't get no better than this, but I can. It's always better. You know what I mean? It's like levels. You get to this level, you can always level up. That's what part of evolving. Evolving is maturing, realizing that life ain't a joke. Not saying that you got to take life serious all the time, but there's times where it's time to grind, and there's times where it's just let's have fun, let's get lit, let's vibe out. A lot of people, especially a lot of people around me, I feel like they haven't really evolved since high school. Niggas be holding on to them high school years because that's their prime years. That's when they peak. That's when they feel they was the flyers. That's when they get their first call and they feel like, yeah, this is it. And then after high school, real life hit. And now niggas got to look for jobs. And some people went to college and had to drop out and they got debt. And Sally Mae calling the crib like, yo, we need that bread and shit like that. Now, when I see people still living those glory days from back in high school, I'm like, damn, this dude ain't really evolving. And I be praying like, yo, like look at me, like I'm evolving. I've been through some shit. I couldn't stay in that 17, 16, 15-year-old mindset. It's time to really get up and get on your shit. A lot of people don't evolve. That's why I be on Facebook and seeing certain people I went to high school with. All they posting is, excuse me, all they posting is weed, stacks of money. But it's like, bruh, this is not life. This is a part. This is a piece of life. There's people out here in the world that travel the world, right? That make impacts in places that you didn't even know existed. When you were coming up in the inner city and in the hood, you have this image painted in your mind of life is a pair of all whites, a Louis belt, I mean a True Religion fit, a Hellstar fit, like just those little things, a gold chain, some fronts. Those is just a small piece of life. There's a whole world out there that you could go see. And there's nothing really stopping people from doing it other than just looking at people on the internet all day and it's involved in that small percentage of the world, and that shit is just preventing people from evolving. I remember when I started thinking like, all right, I got the chains, I got the watches, you know what I'm saying, like I'm doing this, that, and the third, I'm traveling, I'm meeting different people, rubbing elbows with people who have millions and they doing their thing. But I'm like, this really ain't like what life is all about. This is a part of life. This is what I would like. This is what I enjoy doing at the moment. But it's like, y'all, like on some Nas shit. Like, damn, I want to go travel to Africa. I want to go see like certain things in life. I want to be able to go to what's the spot that everybody go? Dubai. I want to be able to do shit like that and look back at how I used to live. Like, damn, I came a long way. It's a part of evolving. A lot of people don't evolve, man. Like, and another reason why people don't evolve too, and this goes back into being on social media and shit, is the clout. People love clout. People would rather get paid in clout than in actual currency. You feel what I'm saying? It's blurred lines between the social media people and the reality of who those people really are. For example, there's a lot of people who exploit their kids online to get likes. Stupid shit. Oh, get me up to certain amount of likes and comments and shares and like nah. Women out here, they really only take care of they kids so they could dress them up and post them online and shit like that. Like it's all clout. It's all notice me, look at me, I look lit, right? You feel what I'm saying? It's like when, small children, when they figure something is entertaining to adults, they keep doing it And then they keep looking at you while they doing it, like, huh, yeah, 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 look at me, look at me. They laughing, they getting a reaction, and that's what people want. They just want reactions. I've never been a clout chaser. You feel what I'm saying? Like, people blur the lines. Most of the shit you see on the internet is is a facade. You know, it's a mask that people put on. I seen Charleston White go. He said, you know, people ain't gonna show you when they on their last $2. They ain't gonna show you their light bill and say, man, look, this is, man, they said they gonna cut this shit. Like, when he said that, that shit hit different, because I'm like, that's true. That's why I don't use social media for personal, my personal life. That's not what I'm about. I'm more about business and promoting what I have going on and promoting my creativity and the work I'm putting in to create a legacy. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't think about, when you die, what do you want to be remembered for, and what do you want to leave behind? Because there's a lot of people out here, and a lot of people that are not here anymore, that didn't think and don't think about, when I'm gone, or don't care about, should I say too. When I'm gone, how will people speak about me? What will my children have? You know, once I'm gone, are they gonna be good? A lot of people don't think about that shit, or they just don't care. They're like selfish. Like, once I'm gone, fuck it. And I want my legacy to be that people could speak good things about me. They're gonna say, yo, he was a real one. Like, he cared about people. He left this, that, and the third for his daughter, so she's straight. That's what I want my legacy to be about. I don't care how the masses see me. I care about what my daughter, my immediate family, and some extended family, and my guys, my brothers, the people I call my brothers. I care about how they talk about me after I'm gone. You ever been to a funeral and and motherfucker die? You go to the funeral and then there's always a few people at the repast like, man, that motherfucker wasn't shit. Or then, what even worse, and it's a trend today, is when people die, people put their name in songs, they name drop them in songs, and it's disrespectful. I don't want that for my legacy. I don't want nobody to say no crazy shit about me after I'm gone, or put no rumors out there after I'm gone and I'm not here to defend myself. When you think about these things in life and what life means to you and what you want your legacy to be, you start moving different. The clubs and the hookah lounges and hanging out is not that important once you realize that thing. Fucking a bunch of girls, being outside all the time, moving around, unless that shit pay you, unless that shit pay your bills and you getting a extravagant bag from that, that shit stops being appealing. Because once I hit like 26, 27, I was over the club. I remember standing in the middle of 40 Logan, right? In Bridgeport. I'm standing in the middle of the club and it's lit. And I'm just standing there looking around. And it was like a scene, like it was like one of them scenes from Paid in Full when they in the club and everything's moving slow. I'm just looking around and I'm like, yo, 80% of the niggas in this club right now got the same designer brands on. Some niggas got the same sneakers on. You know, it's mad niggas in the VIP. There's barely any females up there, and they not letting any females come up there because they want to be looking like, yeah, I'm big dog, I'm top dog. And this shit just, that moment, in that moment in time, I realized that this shit is not it. It's cool to do it once in a blue moon, but I much rather just vibe out at the crib, nice bottle of wine or some Bel Air rosé, cigar, chill with the fam, my guys, the people I could trust. I don't want to be outside so much that before I know it, I look up, I'm fucking 48 years old, damn near 50, pushing 50, and I'm still trying to dress like I'm 21 years old going out to the club about to have my first legal drink. A lot of people don't evolve and think about the legacy that they're going to leave behind. I want to be able to have my name spoken amongst greatness and great things that have occurred in the past. I don't want people to be like, man, he wasn't shit. He went and did that bid for that crazy shit, man. Fuck that. Nah, I want my daughter to grow up and be proud to say my dad was this. That's one of the reasons why I really started going hard with the music, because I want my daughter to be able to play my music after I'm gone. Whether it's 10 years from now, 20 years, you never know when you're going to go. But when she has my music and the things that I rap about and the things that I sang about, she could listen to it and really know who I am aside from the dad she knows. Because I tell a lot of my story through my music, on top of talking about it on the podcast. I want my legacy to be like, I'm gone and the funeral done happened. I'm cremated, buried, whatever, and it be a couple years down the line. And niggas just coming, to my family and making sure they good. You feel me? Rest in peace, my brother Shane. Like, I go see his headstone. I try to do it once a week at one point, but then, life be lifing. And now I try to go, enough times to where it evens out through the year where I feel good. And I go there and I think, and I'm like, he didn't really have much of a legacy because he was so young when he passed. But I'm trying to keep his name relevant and to keep his spirit alive. I always say when I'm at his headstone, when I succeed, you succeed. I'm gonna make sure. The reason why I wear the wave necklace around my neck is because his company was Dominant Wave. 2 days before he passed away, he came to see me in prison, and we made these plans to really take that shit to another level. I was like, we gonna do a collab, Mercenary Mafia with the Dominant Wave. We gonna do this, that, and the third. Design logos, everything. His mom still has the letters and everything that I wrote to him, and she seen the vision. You know what I'm saying? Like, I try to keep his name alive because he didn't really have that much life to live before he passed away, so he wasn't able to establish things. Yeah, he has a good legacy, like memories and shit with his family, but I want my nigga name to be known, just like how Dave East put on for a freaky shooter. You know what I'm saying? Like, people who get successful when they mention these people who have passed on that meant something to them. That's kind of like a legacy. Because they're letting you know this was a good dude. No matter the lifestyle he was living, no matter the foul shit he probably did behind closed doors, he was still a good dude to his peoples when it really mattered. People don't think about the legacy, man. Y'all got to start thinking about that legacy that y'all want to leave behind. Because like I said, I want my legacy to really be like great. And if I don't see $1 million in my lifetime, at least my daughter has great memories from growing up. She knows that I loved her. It was genuine love. She looked at me like I'm the best father ever. Because most little girls today, they see their daddies part-time. I made it once my daughter was born, I made a promise to myself that I would try to be home every morning when she wake up. If I'm in a position to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be there when she wake up. I want to be able to put her to bed at night. Sometimes I may go out with the gang, or I may go out to film something or do something, and I always make sure before she close her eyes at night, I lay down with her for a little bit. We joke, we watch TikTok, shit like that. You gotta raise these kids right. They're part of your legacy. A lot of people are raising future serial killers and dirtbags and shit like that out here. For real. You gotta really think about that. Like, I can't stress that shit enough because you only get to do this life once. I kind of don't believe that reincarnation shit, but if I did, I would say, yeah, you may come back in another life, but this life right here is what matters because you're living it in a certain space and time. I don't know. I feel like people don't really realize that once you die, this shit don't get rebooted. This not Call of Duty. You don't respawn. This ain't GTA Online. You don't respawn. You want to make the best of this shit while you here. Learn these lessons, pick up these tools, apply them to your life. You know what I'm saying? Some people find God and then, that be their purpose. Some people find a career and then that's all they really, you know what I mean, work for. They go hard in the paint for it because that's what they are living for. I'm living for my daughter and my family. I'm trying to make things happen. I'm trying to make shit crack for my family. Because at the end of the day, that's all you really have. Yeah, you got friends and some people, but listen, people come and go out of your life. Everyone leaves impressions on you too. That's another thing in life. People will leave impressions on you and you pick up certain things from people and you gotta take them shits. Like for me, if I like say I meet a woman and we chilling, we kicking it, we vibing, she'll show me some things in life. And this has actually happened. Certain women in my life have gave me these tools like being a little bit more cleaner and cleansy, like if that's a word. But I pick up these tools from people and I apply them to my life because it helps. It helps me live a better life. It makes me comfortable. It makes me feel good. You know what I'm saying? If it makes you feel good to dress up, be fly and all of that, you do that. You might leave an impression on somebody else, but like, you know what? I like the way he was. I like the way that guy was dripping. You know what? I'm gonna start dripping like, not like you, not imitating you, but I'm gonna start taking a little bit more care of myself. I'm gonna start smelling better. I'm gonna start bathing more thoroughly. You know what I'm like? You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't want to keep going on and on and on about it, but learn these lessons, pick these tools up, apply them to your life. Know that the trials and tribulations is always gonna be that in life. It's obstacles. You gotta just be strong, prepare. Well, you can't prepare, but be prepared to always go through something. Life isn't just a fucking walk in the park because a lot of people live like that. And that's the thing too. I also want to speak on people. There's certain people that walk around in this world who've never been through anything, like no real trials and tribulations. I always say this. Somebody from my past used to piss me off so bad, and they was a straight up dickhead, straight up like scumbag, like just nose in the ear type of motherfucker, right? And I used to always like just watch them, right? I'm observing them, seeing their mannerisms, seeing the way they talk to people, how they talk to women. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I used to always just come up with this conclusion, like, yo, this dude never got his ass kicked. He's never been in like a life or death situation. I feel like everybody, especially when you living in this world, you have to go through something that will shake you up and whip you into shape. For real, I done had my ass whipped. I done got jumped. Like, I've had black eyes. Couldn't explain this shit to my mom. She was going like, I done been through so much shit that's made me like, yeah, I don't want to be a dickhead. I don't want to be an asshole anymore. Some people need like, once upon a time, I used to be on my like real violent shit, and sometimes I still am. I used to be like, yo, this dude just needs somebody to run up on him and piss, like hit him in the head with a gun. You know what I mean? Lay him on the ground. You need that feeling. I don't know how many of y'all ever had that feeling of like, it's like fear and adrenaline. And you usually get it in a near death or a life or death situation, right? There was one time, I'm not gonna go into detail, but I did something to the point where when I was away from the situation or getting away from the situation, I couldn't I couldn't talk, I couldn't walk. My stomach was twisting and turning. And that shit made me think of the movie Clockers when old boy brother was telling his moms like, he clapped somebody and he couldn't walk and he was throwing up. That's how I felt. And it's like some people need that feeling of sheer fear. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I don't like, is it the way I'm acting? Like, get put in the hospital. Get put in the hospital where you on fucking bed rest for a few months and you just got time to think. because that's what prison was for me. I had time to think about my life and evaluate shit and how did I get to this point in my life where I'm not doing so good in this moment. People need that. Some people need it. It's a wake up call. You know what I mean? The OGs are saying you need a wake up call. You need a wake up call. Whether it's somebody robbing you, whether it's somebody whipping you, whether it's the authorities coming and scaring your ass straight, anything that'll whip you into shape, people need that. Because when you walk around thinking life is just one big ass walk in the park, that's how assholes are breeded. That's how dickheads are breeded. That's how crash dummies are breeded. You feel me? And who wants to be walking around life like that? Just like, ooh, the world is mine. No, you live in a world full of people living their life, going through their going shit, struggling. Some people living their best life, but you got to be considerate that you're not the only person in this world. You feel what I'm saying? And like all of this is a part of the reason why I started to support your local hustlers campaign, because when I'm gone, I want people to say, you know what? He looked out. He came, shed some light on my business. He promoted it. He shared it on his Instagram and all of that. He had me come on his podcast. Like when me and Humble got together to do Social Sundays, I would have never thought that we'll be doing the live performances and giving certain artists their first official interviews and really showing who these people are, these artists and stuff, to our audience and to, whoever was watching. I want people to be able to say, yo, he was a nigga that always looked out. For real. Like shout out to my homegirl Hot Shit. Like I remember meeting her and doing the podcast about the women in business and seeing her now from when we did that interview was like, dang, she done glue up. She on that live TV show. You know what I'm saying? Um, just promoting positivity and then doing it while shedding light on my fellow artists and entrepreneurs, period. A lot of people not doing that. A lot of people get in a position of power or they get a platform and want to just hog it. Nah, this shit about me. Fuck everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be that. I don't want to be a selfish person. If I got some light, I'm going to shine it on everybody around me that I see got a positive message and is doing something real good in the community. You got to do five. You gotta do good five community. I mean, free crib mag. But speaking of artists, I was on Instagram earlier and I'm like, scrolling through like the stories and shit. I barely scroll through the stories. Like I don't really watch that many people's stories. But then I started thinking like, I'm writing an outline for the pod and I'm like, yo, who are my top 5 artists in Connecticut? Like, and then I started going through my Apple Music and seeing who I'm listening to. And I'm gonna give y'all my top 5 artists. You know what I mean? So, like, and this is in no order. I got Famous, right? On Instagram, it's 995 Famous. Now, the reason why he's one of my favorites out here in CT is because he's versatile, a gang of flows, a gang of styles, like everything, for real. Me and him got a song together called "Such a Shame," and I remember when I was working on this record, and I had no second verse. I could not figure out how I wanted to approach the second verse, and I remember I was thinking for like an hour straight. I'm pacing back and forth, and I'm like, you know what? Let me send this shit to Famous, right? Because me and Famous go back from like 2021, 2022, and I've been listening to a lot of his music. Like once I heard his music, I've always listened to his music. I never stopped. All his projects, all of that shit. So I sent him. What I did was I sent him the joint, right? I sent him the track. He go, yo, how you get that shit to sound like that? Because I had everything just right. So I kind of broke it down like, yo, I'm working on my engineering skills and bam. About 2 hours later, he sends me the record back with his verse. When I tell you he executed it, he executed this shit in the most professional and it was perfect. Like it was perfect. He stuck to the concept of what the song was about, and then he even did his own hook at the end. I was just like, yo, this my dog right here. For real, for real. Like he's probably one of my most favorited artists out here. And I'm not being biased because, you know, he in the town and we work together. I'm saying I genuinely fuck with his music. And I feel like a lot of people sleep on him. I asked him in an interview one time, like, you know, basically about that. Like why people don't really, but who supports him and the people who are around him is who matters. Like fuck trying to, you know what I mean, impress everybody and get in everybody's ear. To me, his music is something that I could rock out to. Road trip, when I'm doing parties, when I'm, you know what I mean, anything. I'll use his shit. I'll use some of his songs for the soundtrack of my life. Real talk. Especially when he do like the love songs and all of that. Shout out to my man Famous, bro. Like he's one of my favorites out here. Another one of my favorites, Annoyed, right? So Annoyed, first time I ever heard of Annoyed, I was in, I think I was in Rogowski Annex, right? Correctional institution. And he had that song Lucky, that how I get so lucky, how I get so lucky. And that was like kind of the time where music was changing, the sound of music was changing. And I heard that shit, I said, this nigga is hard, pause. Who is this? And they like, yo, he a CT artist. I forget exactly where he's from in Connecticut, but I know he put on for the state. You feel me? Like, and he go crazy. It's bars on 9-5 freestyles, just shit he do on Instagram when he's rapping and shit. That shit go crazy, man. Like bars, perfect. Like things that he say, his metaphors and his punchlines be crazy. You feel me? That's one of my favorite artists from out here too. Of course, of course, my man Touching Money Yo. You know what I'm saying? He's if I had to put him in order, he's definitely in my top. He's definitely high in my top five, like one or two. You feel what I'm saying? Like my man Touching Money O from Norwalk, man. Me and him was in the trenches in working a 9 to 5. I'm talking about bussing tables, waiting, serving tables, meeting all of these people out in Westport, these famous people, like making jokes, cracking jokes. Like me and him, we definitely was in the trenches in the workforce together. Like and to see where he's at now, you know, um, I'm proud of him. I got a lot of love for him. Him, Kev, Los Money, you know what I mean? RP Cool to Crack. Like they whole team, the whole hustle, struggle, pain camp, like those was my peoples. Touching Money Yo was definitely one of my favorites. You feel me? Did a couple of cameos in his videos and shit like that. You heard one of my favorite joints O did was he did that African Giant, that Burner Boy joint over. But his version was called Come Over. That shit was fire. If you know, you know. YouTube that shit. Touching Money O, right? With two I's. TOUCHIINMONEYO. And type in Come Over. Bro. Nigga went crazy. And he left an open verse. I felt like he was leaving that open verse on some challenge shit. But ain't nobody really hop on it. But that's my guy. You know what I'm saying? Then I got who else? Let me see. I'm gonna say Fuego Base. We was in McDougal. I was in McDougal CI with Fuego Base, right? I would have never thought that he would, you know, blow up the way he did, and that he fucking one of my favorite. He's fucking with one of my favorite artists, Benny the Butcher. Benny the Butcher, like the whole Griselda. Listen, that's who I'm listening to a lot these days. You feel me? Fuego. A lot of people that listen to like rap these days, they're not eclectic. They can't listen to everything, right? Shout out to that. Shout out to Kwani. She the one who taught me the word eclectic. That's a $1,000 word right there. But a lot of people don't gravitate towards that type of rap that Griselda and Black Soprano family do, because these young niggas ain't listening to that boom bap shit no more. But me personally, I got a love for that shit because that's the type of style of hip hop I was raised on. But yeah, shout out to my man Fuego Bass from Hartford. Like, real shit, definitely one of the dopest out here. And I'm gonna say Scar Finesse. Now, I got a reason why Scar Finesse is one of my favorites. You feel me? I'm one of them people who I don't ever say, "Oh, this nigga shit whack" or "that shit is trash," unless it's really just like it's no denying it. Like, you listening to it with your boy, and y'all both giving each other that look, this shit trash. Scar Finesse, his style, right? Um, if you know who Scar Finesse is, you know that he had an accident when he was younger, and he was burned. So the burns and the scars gave him like this slur. So when he rap, it's like this grimy, gritty slur. Like, that shit to me is fire. And I can hear, like, that's somebody who I'm definitely gonna work with in the future. Scar Finesse is definitely coming and through. We definitely got to do some work. Like, he did his live from the Hub performance, and I'm like listening to these bars he said, and I'm like, this nigga got bars. His delivery is crazy. His cadence is crazy. Like, that's why I really fuck with him. A lot of people really don't gravitate towards his music, who I be around, but I be like, listen, if you really listening to, and that slur makes you actually listen to what he's saying too. Like, the fucking music is hard. You dig what I'm saying? He came out with that Big Finesse, which is like a remix to Big Pimpin', and he performed that shit at Battle of the Beats last year. I'm like, man, this shit fire, man. You dig what I'm saying? He has a bar that's one of my favorite bars. He said some shit like, he said, "Gun so big, I gotta hold it sideways." Some shit. I forgot. I'll put that shit in the description. But that bar was crazy. You feel me? And he's consistent. All of these artists that I mentioned are consistent. They don't put out a single or in a video, and then 6 months go by, and then you don't really hear nothing from them until they got some new shit. These guys are actually in the studio on a regular, putting out shit, putting out content, making this motherfucking shit happen. This dream that we are chasing happen. So shout out to them five, like, for real. Um, I also been like really on TikTok and social media in general, seeing some of these up and coming people who I think is fire. Like, I want to talk about some of these people. Like, they like my favorite. You could say like favorite up and coming people, right? So it's this singer, this young lady by the name of Superstar Patience, right? She out of Chicago, Illinois, right? Her Instagram is at Superstar Patience. Shorty voice is, man. When I tell you, when I first seen this girl on live on TikTok, she was going crazy, and she doing like sessions live on TikTok. So these songs that she's coming up with is just right there, bam, coming up with them right there on the spot on live. And I'm like, damn, I went, looked up at Apple Music. I'm listening to all this music she got, and I'm like, yo, this shit fire. Real talk. To me, she reminds me of like a real Mary J. Blige meets Janae Aiko type. You know what I mean? Sound. That shit fire. So if you get a chance, check her out, man. Like I said, her Instagram is at Superstar Patience. She out of Chicago. Definitely a dope individual. Um, I'm gonna say the other person who I really been fucking with, that's on the up, like up on the up and coming, is Shy Goonie out of Tampa, Florida. Like, Shy Goonie, she's on my man Chris Street's project, No Apologies, and the song is called Switching Sides. And she murdered that hook. Like, that shit was fire. I reached out to her a few months back. Hopefully we could work, you know what I mean, get some work done, because I definitely fuck with her. I mean, her Instagram, you can go check her out at Shy Goonie. Shigoonie. Like, definitely check her out. Shorty is fire. You feel me? Definitely got a different sound. It's like, to me, it's like she good on hooks, but her verses be hitting too. Something crazy. You dig what I'm saying? Straight out of Tampa. Yo, shout out to Florida because they definitely got some ones coming out of Florida. For real. I'm gonna say another person, and I don't know if y'all see this. There's a lot of women. You know what I mean, but shout out to Minnie Sauce, right, out of New York. You feel me? She, you know what I mean? She with the 30s, man, the Harlems. You heard, like, you know what I'm saying, gang shit. But nah, when I first heard Minnie Sauce, it was probably like 2 3 years ago. I was like, yeah, I fuck with it. She dropped No We Fee, and then she was on Touch of Money O's album 36. You feel what I'm saying? And she definitely go hard. I mean, real New York sound, like the new sound, the drill sound. You know what I'm saying? Young ladies definitely putting on for the city, for real. I would like to say she representing the whole New York. I don't know if she'll say that, but I say she's representing the whole New York because she definitely is a dope individual as well. Her at is at on Instagram at mini dot sauce with two E's. You heard? Now, my man, I definitely had to put my man on my favorite rising stars. My man, Bass NHO out of New Haven. Now, if y'all watch Social Sundays, he done been on the show a couple times. When I dropped I believe it was the Life Changed album. When I had the release party for that, I had him come through and shoot a music video at that party, and I interviewed him that same episode of Social Sundays. So he definitely made it on my radar just by meeting him in person, figuring out he was a fucking cool ass dude. Then he's airdropping me his music, and I'm like, this shit hard. You feel what I'm saying? And he's a dope individual. Like, he's a real good, solid brother. You know what I mean? From New Haven. You know what I mean? Like, me and him definitely gonna do some things in the future. I definitely gonna come through and, you know what I mean, video document some shit for him and all of that. But his at is on Instagram is at BassGMGG. You feel me? Shout out to the whole New Haven. My man Von Lee. You dig what I'm saying? Shakim Shabazz is definitely one of my favorite rising stars too. He has Summer Nights. That album is fire. But that I feel like Shakim Shabazz make like that. He make that grown rap. You feel me? A lot of you young niggas ain't the shit's gonna go over your head. I feel like Shakim Shabazz, his music is for that OG nigga, or it could be a young OG nigga that really getting money and that's about being positive now. Cause that's what my man Shakim Shabazz is about. You feel what I'm saying? Um, and shout out to the New Haven Boutique. You feel me? New Haven Apparel Boutique. That's his spot. You dig what I'm saying? I be promoting it a lot on my story and shit like that. And I'm gonna say I'm gonna come to the hometown for this one. Another one of my favorite rising artists are Avery. Only Avery. You know what I'm saying? He just dropped the visual for Rolling at that cookout. Shit was fire. Shout out Tim Bryan. He did the visual. Now, when it comes to my boy Avery, we went to high school together and shit like that. With him, his delivery is just hard. You feel me? There's no letting up. It's just bar, 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 and them shits be fire. And then he's also showing, he's showing niggas that he not just doing the rap shit. He doing collabs with my boy Phillip from Dirtbag Apparel. You know what I'm saying? He got the Air Force Ones out right now. Shits is fire. You know what I mean? Niggas that are actually doing something out here, I'ma always stand behind and I'm always support and I'ma always uplift them. You feel what I'm saying? Especially if they're a solid individual. Might not be able to talk all the time, and I can't call his phone because I may not have his number or something. But I know if I reach out and hit him up, he'll definitely hit me back. Definitely shout out to him, man, because he's one of my favorite rising artists right now as well. And his at is on Instagram at only Avery. And the Avery, it's not two A's, it's Avery. Because a lot of niggas be trying to look him up and they can't look him up for some reason. And I mean all his music is in the link in his bio. Y'all go spit his shit, run his shit up. You feel what I'm saying? But shout out to all our artists. from Connecticut all the way to Chicago, Tampa, Atlanta, like everybody. Like, even congratulations to the Stress guys. I see my big bro and producer Mono, they was just at Rock Nation in Los Angeles, and Stress Guys just signed a contract with Rock Nation. That's a big move. You feel me? So hopefully niggas ain't still gonna be in between bags. You heard? But shout out to all the artists. Like, I fuck with everybody. I appreciate all the content that everybody puts out because it's entertaining and it leaves an impact on me. And it helps me maneuver the way I go forward with my music and my content. So best believe I appreciate all of the artists that are dropping shit consistently that have a positive message behind their music, whether they doing drill, R&B, sexy drill, anything. You feel what I'm saying? But those are my top 5 CT artists and some of my favorite rising stars that I be listening to and shit like that. So go check everybody out for real, cause it's all about supporting your local hustlers. At the end of the day, we ain't got time for no petty shit. We ain't got no time for haters. We ain't got no time for throwing shade, chasing clout, for clickbait, and all that bullshit. Also, shout out my man Schmack from Stay Woken podcast too. I haven't seen him on live in a while, but shout out to my man because he definitely had me on his platform a few times, and I was able to network with other artists through his platform. So shout out for that opportunity and just the whole movement he got going on. Shout out to my boy Smack for real. But in other words, my final word, right? So it took me a minute to think of my final word. So I just had to go, really just utilize the internet. So my final word isn't even my final word. It's a quote from Kevin Gates. And for me, I look at Kevin Gates. He's one of the people that I learn a lot of lessons from and get a lot of tools and things, because if you look at him from how he was to who he is today, and forget all of the weird shit that they say about him on the internet and all of that shit. The shit is irrelevant to who he is and his character. He's a person that I look at like he's so at peace and he's so happy that I feel like it's strange to people, because people, misery needs company. A lot of miserable people on the internet. They look at him like, man, he weirdo, he sus, he sassy. But at the end of the day, I look at him for what he really is. He's a man that is comfortable in his skin. He know what he want in life. He's grasping everything that he wants in life. And he's at peace. A lot of people aren't at peace. That was another thing I left out about life. You want to have peace in life. But that's kind of the same thing as being comfortable. But so the quote is by Kevin Gates. Greatness exists in all of us. It's not about trying to imitate anybody else. Being yourself is the only way to truly find it. And when I heard him say this, when I read it, you know what I'm trying to say. When I read the shit, I read it in his voice. His old fucking country ass. But when I read this, I'm like, yo, that's true, because once I really put myself out there and let people see the real me, who I am, the funny, the funny dude, the intellectual guy you can have a conversation with about mostly everything, I was like, yo, this shit is true, because that shit brings out your greatness and it helps people see the greatness in you when you're yourself. A lot of people try to imitate other shit they see. That's the one thing I notice about a lot of people. Everybody looks the fucking same because everyone's trying to imitate what the hell they see on social media. But I'm going to repeat the quote again by Kevin Gates. It says, greatness exists in all of us. It's not about trying to imitate anyone else. Being yourself is the only way to truly find it. And that's all facts. And as always, this is O.A.T.H, where we're going to obtain, achieve, thrive, and we always gonna hustle.
You are now listening to Obtain, Achieve, Thrive, Hustle with Metro. Come take the oath.